I'm Sharon Bill. Welcome to my Music Theory Tuition series where I work with you step by step through the ABRSM Discovering Music Theory grades. I'll work through every single exercise and explain everything you need to know. You can access information about the books I have available to help you on my website. Go to sharonbill.com. For advert-free and longer lessons, you can become a patron at patreon.com/SharonBill. If you can give me a like, that would be super, and please do subscribe to my channel to stay updated. You can support this channel by buying me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/SharonBill. Continuing with the topic of keys and key signatures, we're moving on to page 36 of Grade 1 Discovering Music Theory. And on that page, exercise 2 asks us to circle the notes that need an accidental to create a melody in each of the named keys. Now, an accidental means a sharp or a flat sign placed next to individual notes as and when we need them. And so we're in G major here, and so we know from the scale studies that we've been working on in previous sections that G major, in order to make the major scale pattern of tones and semitones, must have the F replaced with an F sharp. And we're in the bass clef here, and so we need to find every single note F because it should be sharpened, and at the moment it isn't. So they are the notes that would need altering by adding an accidental. Now in the bass clef, we know that the lines go, good boys deserve football. It's the second line down. So there's no F here until this note here. That's the F, and it should be sharpened to make the major scale pattern. There could be F at a lower octave. So if that's G, this could be an F. And if there were any Fs at any other octave, they would need to be sharpened also. But there's just that one there. And so now that you know what's required, perhaps you could just have a go at these next two on your own and then re-access into the video to check your answers. So I'm hoping that you've tried this on your own first. It's always better to have a go. It doesn't matter if you go wrong. You always learn much better by making mistakes. Always use pencil, a nice sharp pencil to keep everything neat, and you can always erase if you go wrong. You'll learn much more thoroughly that way. So let's check through this. So F major, we know, requires B flats. It's really worth just revising these and getting to know these really, really well. Chances are you've played these scales, and that will help you to remember also. And so to make this in the key of F major, we need to find all of the B's that should be flattened. We're in the treble clef, so every good boy. B is this middle line. So actually here is our first one. And then here is another one. And that's it. There could be an octave higher or an octave lower, but we don't go outside of this range octave here. And so that would be the only one that needs change. Oh no, there's one here, missed one. There we go. There we go. 1, 2, any more? That's that. Yep, there we go. So every single B would need to be flattened. And now looking at D major requires F sharps and C sharps. And so we need to find all of the note F and all of the note C that are in this little melody here, and then we need to circle them because that's not correct in D major. Remember, it's only C major that has no sharps or flats. And so to make it fit the D major scale structure, we need to find all the notes F and all of notes C. So now here, this first note is an F. We know the spaces spell face, so that would need an accidental. However, slight trick here, because although this is an F and it does need to be sharpened, remember that an accidental lasts for a whole bar and then the bar line cancels it. So if this one has had a sharp sign added to it, this one is still a sharp because that sharp sign still carries. And so we don't need to circle that because this does not need an accidental because it will already have been dealt with by this one here. So that's slightly tricky there. However, I think now that will make sense. So the bar line cancels it. And so this next note F would again need an accidental to make that also an F sharp. Are there any more F notes? No, there's no more Fs. There's no top Fs either. So now we need to find any C sharps. So there's no middle Cs. So F, A, C is this third line. So there's none here until this penultimate note here. That C would need to be made C sharp by adding an accidental. So these are the notes that you should have circled. However, you can see that for a composer who has to keep going through a whole piece of music, imagine an entire symphony, and you've got to keep putting all of these flats or sharps in place. And there's no need to do that if we have a key signature. A key signature tells us at the very beginning of a piece of music, and it's on every single line. At a piece of music, the time signature is written once at the beginning, but a key signature is written on every single line. There's a constant reminder of which sharps and which flats need to be remembered throughout the whole piece. And so a quick glance at the beginning of a piece of music will tell us what the key structure is. And so we know that C major has no sharps or flats. And so here, a key signature of nothing tells us exactly in one instant at the very beginning part of the music that if it's in a major key, it's C major. And so here, G major has a key signature of F sharps, and so we know straight away from seeing this F sharp in the treble clef, every good boy deserves football, or good boys deserve football, F sharps. We know straight away it's a major key, it's going to be G major, which always has F sharps, and there's no need to then add all of the accidentals because that tells us that every time you see a note F, it must be F sharp unless it's cancelled out. And it's worth remembering that these sharp signs, these key signatures, are always placed in exactly the same place. It's never written as this low F down here. It's always written in exactly the same place. And so you get used to just recognising these key signatures just at a quick glance because it's always written here. And so for D major, the F sharp is in exactly the same place. And now we just add the C sharp, and it's always this C sharp making this diagonal line. It's no other C, it's always this C sharp is used in the key signature. And that means that every single F, regardless of what octave it is, and every single C, regardless of what octave it is always sharpened. And so we have a key signature F major of B flats, and it's always this middle line, B is flattened in the treble clef, and always the line down in the bass clef. It's always in that position, never a different B, always just this B flat. And so key signatures save all the trouble of having to keep on adding all of these accidentals. We just look at the key signature, and then it's up to us as a musician to remember that every time we see a note F, for example, we must sharpen it, or whatever it is that the key signature tells us. I hope this is helpful to your studies. Please do like and subscribe to stay updated. If you'd like to support this channel, you can buy me a coffee, and for advert-free lessons, you can become a patron. Do visit my website where you'll find many resources available to help you. Visit sharonbill.com. Thanks for watching. Bye.